Yeah, hello. So we can start our interview session. So can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, myself Harish. I have 10 years experience in IT industry, and first initial 7 years I am 7 years I am working for Web Methods integration, and I have been trained and I have been moved to MuleSoft, and past 3 years I am working with MuleSoft in support and development areas,
Okay, fine. So which version
and
of
I have been working for an US client for MuleSoft support area.
okay, and which version of MuleSoft you are using?
Currently, we are using Mule 3 and Mule 4, but I have knowledge only on Mule 4, but we are supporting Mule 3 as well.
Okay, fine. Okay, so can you explain your project in detail, like what all API, what all business functionality are there, and what all API you developed?
Ravi, actually, I'm currently I'm not doing any development, but I can give you the banking loyalty that which I have taken training from you. That is fine, right?
Yeah, okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, have been working on in the banking loyalty module where I developed the APIs related to transaction loyalty, claim reward, revoke and revoke coupon. And we have also developed the scheduler based API where we'll sync the data from Salesforce to an DB, and we also sync the data. We'll sync the transactions from the Salesforce uh, to the DB and the third party API.
Okay. So it seems you explained one functionality. So you worked on only one functionality, or you developed like number of API.
Like I have developed total complete transaction API module.
Okay, fine. Okay, so what all source and target system was there in that particular API?
Yeah, for the transaction API, the source is the front end and the back end is the Salesforce, and we have divided the transaction API into three layers, like the experience layer and the process layer and the system layer. And experience layer again we have divided into two for mobile and the web application as well.
Okay, okay, fine. So in experience layer, what kind of security you used?
Like in the experience layer, we have used the securities like the JWT token, and then we have the client ID enforcement, and we have used the basic authentication as well.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine. So you know what is scaling in MuleSoft, like how we can scale our worker. So you know in MuleSoft how many kind of scaling we have and how we
Yeah,
do. Yeah.
like we have horizontal scaling and the vertical scaling. If the number of requests that are coming to the application if your particular application is unable to handle the number of requests that are receiving by the application, so in that case we'll be increasing the workers, that is called the horizontal scaling. And if the request that is coming, the size of the payload is more, then we'll increase the vCores, which is nothing but an vertical scaling.
Okay, fine. Yeah, good. So can you explain about rate limiting policy? What is rate limiting policy?
Yeah. Yeah, if you have an application and if your application is supporting only 100 requests per minute, and if your and if your application is receiving around more than 100 requests, and if it is your application is getting hanged, then we'll be applying the rate limiting policy, so that your application will accept only the first 100 requests to your application, and rest will be discarded, so that your application won't be hanged, or it will go into some deadlock state, something like that.
Okay. So if you want to like if you have applied rate limiting policy like 20 request in a second or in a minute, if I want to like and I'm getting 30 requests, So for remaining 10 requests we will get like quota exceeded error. I don't want to this error. I want to serve remaining 10 requests also. So what all alternative we can do?
Then we can go for an spike limiting policy. So that will what will happen if you are getting more than 100, that the other request will be stored into a queue. So once these 100 requests are being processed in the second minute, then the queues that are in the left requests that are in the queue will be processed in the second.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So is there, and like this is one alternative, okay, this we can use. In term of scaling, can we do anything by which we can serve like remaining request?
You mean any other way?
Yeah. This is whatever you way you suggested. Yeah, that one is applicable. We can do in we can, instead of rate limiting, we can use spike control. Is there any other way we can like make same thing, like we will whatever new request we will get, we can still serve that request?
Maybe caching. I'm not sure.
Caching. No, in term of caching is different thing. Okay, caching we can't use here. I'm asking about scaling. So what kind of scaling we can do here to serve more number of requests?
No idea, Ravi.
Okay, just now you mentioned na, like we can do this horizontal scaling by which we can increase
Yeah.
number of worker, then it will able to serve number of requests. So we can do
Oh,
horizontal scaling also here.
okay. Yeah.
Okay, fine. So next, can you explain API development lifecycle?
Like we have an business analyst is at onset, sitting at onset, who will be assigning is the requirement through Jira. So once we have the Jira, so we will go through the the Jira will have the required documents to start the development. So going through the functional document and technical document, like if we have any clarify, we need to clarify anything with the requirement, then we'll have a discussion and we'll close that. And after that we'll start the designing part. So in the designing we'll develop the raml, and these raml, once we are done with the raml, we'll publish it to the exchange, and we'll take the feedback from the client. So if the client is okay with that, then again we'll start the development. So once we are done with the development, then we'll do the testing, and we'll move it to the production. And after that, like if there are any improvements needs to be done in the production, so like that, we'll be keep on improving the application.
Okay, fine. Okay, so what kind of deployment model you are using in your project?
We are using cloud hub, Ravi.
Okay, so apart of that, what all deployment model we have in MuleSoft?
Other than that, we have on-premise model, and we have RTF, and we have hybrid model as well.
So do you have any kind of exposure for other deployment model?
I have experience in cloud hub, and I have experience in on-premise as well, but we didn't implement in our project.
Okay. Okay, so can you tell me any difference between this cloud hub and on-premise deployment model?
Yeah, like cloud hub is everything, like all the maintenance of the servers and everything will be maintained by the MuleSoft or the AWS. But on premise, like we need to take care of all the scaling of the application. If you want to do any patches or load balancing, any issue related to the server, we need to take care. But in cloud hub, like everything will be taken care by the MuleSoft. So no need to worry once the deployment is happening.
Okay, fine. Any other difference? So this is infrastructure side. So in on-premise, everything infrastructure will be maintained by client, and on cloud hub,
Yes.
infrastructure will be maintained by MuleSoft. Any other
Yeah.
big difference, major difference? No?
No idea, Ravi.
Okay. Okay, fine, no problem. So you know, like, what is difference between this agile methodology and waterfall model?
Yeah, like agile and water methodology, like we'll have a like water methodology is like we'll start from requirement gathering to the production, and once if there are any issues, again we'll start from the requirement, like again we'll go in the we'll start from again requirement gathering. Whereas agile methodology, like if there are any changes, like immediately we'll be implementing and we'll be moving it to the production, and we'll be having a scrum call on daily basis, and if we are facing any issues like anything like we'll be doing it in the same cycle.
Okay, fine. So which methodology you are using in your project?
We are using agile methodology.
Okay, okay. So you know, like, what is sprint, and then like, who is scrum master? Can you explain, like, what is sprint and scrum master?
Yeah, Scrum Master is the one who will be assigning, who will be taking the requirement and assigning the Jira task to us. Like, and the sprint is like it will be for 6 weeks or 5 weeks. So he will be assigning all the stories that are to be completed in that particular sprint.
Okay, fine. So can you explain error handling in MuleSoft?
You mean in my project?
Yes, yes. What is error handling in MuleSoft and how we achieve this?
Yeah, in the system layer we are connecting to the Salesforce. So like we have a scenario where if we are giving the wrong credentials, so that we are unable to connect to the Salesforce. So in that case, what we have done is like we have created we have taken an error type of Salesforce invalid input, so that we are maintaining it in the global error handler, so that we'll be handling there, and we'll be giving a response as like where we'll display like invalid username and password.
Okay, so what all component you will use to do error handling in MuleSoft?
Like we have error handler, and then we have error scopes like on error continue, on error propagate, and business for business error we have on raise error.
Okay, so can you tell me difference between on error continue and on error propagate?
Yeah, on error continue, like it will return success response, whereas in on error propagate, it will return the error response, and like both will catch the error. And if they are in the same flow, like the processor where it got failed, it will return from there. It will not execute the other flows. Whereas if the error occurred in the child flow, like it will execute in the on error continue, it will execute the other processors and return success response. Whereas in on error propagate, like it will not execute the, it will throw in an error, it will not execute the rest of the process in the parent flow.
Okay, so and if I want to handle this business error, what component I will use?
We have a component called raise error, where we can raise the error if you're if for any business require, if you want to raise any business error, so we can use that one.
Okay, okay, fine. Okay, so let me ask you one scenario. Okay, so let me share my screen. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah, yes, Ravi, can.
So here we have two flow. One is, this one is main flow and this one is child flow. Let me put this child flow after this main flow. Okay, so this is our main flow and this is our child flow. So from
Okay.
here in main flow we are calling this child flow using this flow
Okay.
reference. Okay, this parent flow contain on error continue, this child flow contain on error propagate.
Okay.
So here you can see we have multiple loggers. So can you tell me
Mhm.
sequence of logger, like it, if okay, let me put name of each logger. So this is logger 1, this is logger 2, this is logger 3, this is logger 4, then this is logger 5, this is logger 6. Okay, so you are okay with scenario, you know what is scenario. Okay, so you need to
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
me sequence of this logger, which logger will come first and which will come after that, and how many loggers will be executed here. Okay, yeah, you
Sure.
can go ahead.
So first it will come to the logger 1
Yes, correct,
and it will go to the flow reference.
correct,
From there it will come to the child flow.
correct,
After that it will go to logger 5.
yes.
And then where is error being happening here?
Okay, add this component having error.
Okay, so from there it is coming to the transform message, and
Yes,
here the error occurs.
yes,
So the error will go to the error on propagate.
yes,
So here logger 7 will be executed.
yes,
Then again a transform message, and after that logger 8 will be executed, and it will again go back to the flow reference, and it will throw an error, and
okay,
it will again come back to the logger 3,
correct,
and then it will go to logger 4,
okay, yeah,
and it will return success response.
okay, correct. So yeah, perfect. So now you tell me, if I will change this from on error propagate to on error continue. So tell me, after getting response, what will be change here? So now this is on error continue instead of on error propagate. We got response
Okay.
from here to here. Now what will be execution?
So logger 1 and then flow reference, again it will come to logger 5, and then again it will go to logger 7, and then it will go to logger 8, and then again it will go back to flow reference. Since it returns success response, it will go to logger 2,
Perfect.
and it is success response.
Yeah, correct. Okay, fine. Okay, so I'm stopping my screen. It's back to. Okay, so like in MuleSoft, we have two external call. Okay, and those two external call are independent of each other. Okay.
Okay.
So what kind of component you will use to increase performance of your API?
I suggest to go with the scatter gather.
Okay.
So since both are independent and they can run parallel.
Okay. So okay. So like here in case of scatter gather, we are getting response after scatter gather component. We are getting response. So how you will handle, like you are calling two external system. I want both external system payload. So how you will get both payload?
Like the output of an scatter gather is an object of objects. So using the flatten, we can merge the both. We can merge the output into a single array.
Okay, fine. So like batch processing component. Can you explain this batch processing component?
Yeah, batch processing, it is an multitasking component, multitasking processing, like where it will be used for processing of huge amount of data. So for this, like if we have different components in batch processing, like if it is having in batch job and then in batch job, batch step, and the aggregator. Like inside the if we are having in 100 records, so the block says if we define as 50, so it will be divided into two blocks, and each 50 records will be processed, and that will be sent to a batch step. In batch step, again we have an options called accept expression and accept policy, and if that expression is if that expression is valid, then it will process all the each 50 records parallelly, and it will be executed. And similarly for batch aggregator, like it will process the data in the form of batch, and we have another option called stream, where it will process data fast, and it will take less memory when compared to the batch processing.
Okay.
And the output of the batch job is like it's an asynchronous call, so it will give the information like a number of records that are processed and the number of records that were failed, and it will not give any output, just it will give the information of the and the output is in batch job result.
Okay, fine. Okay, so next, can you explain me flow reference component? What is flow reference component?
Like as we seen in the previous scenario for error handling, like if you want to move from if you want to move the event from one flow to another flow, then we'll be using the flow reference component.
Okay.
And yeah,
So can I use this flow reference component to call one flow from any subflow?
one flow from any can you repeat once again?
I want to call one flow from one subflow. So can I use this flow reference component at this place?
From subflow, I think we can use it.
Okay, fine. Okay, so have you worked on MUnit?
Yeah, I have worked on MUnit.
Okay, can you give me detail about MUnit? What all like you used, where exactly you used, and how you used?
Like once we are done with the total development of any particular application, then we'll be doing an MUnit, like it's a kind of JUnit, like where we automate the testing process and tells about the code coverage. Like here again, MUnit is of two ways. Like one is in manual MUnit can be done, otherwise it's an MUnit recorder. So I didn't get any chance to work on manual things, so I have worked on the MUnit recorder. So for MUnit recorder, we need to do some configurations in the run, and once we are done with that, then we'll run for each and every flow, and we'll be getting the like when we do the test MUnit for each and every flow, we'll get some value, and it should not be less than 80%. It again depends on the project, like how they want and all. So like that, we'll generate for each and every flow of it.
Okay, so can you tell me any limitation of this MUnit recorder?
Yeah, like for MUnit using recorder, I think we cannot do the error scenarios.
Okay,
We can other than that, like we can do only for happy flow.
okay. Then how you used this MUnit recorder in error scenario? So what you did in error scenario?
In my project, like I have done the error scenario and all, like using the Postman collection, like we have manually done the testing of error scenarios.
Okay, fine. Okay, so okay, can you tell me any challenge like what you faced during your project, maybe in current project or previous project? Can you tell me your challenging part?
Like in this loyalty banking loyalty project, like we are syncing the data from Salesforce to the loyalty module. Sorry, into the that reward points. We have third-party API where it will generate the rewards, and we'll sync the data from Salesforce to that reward generation third-party API, and then the same will be synced into the database. Here, the challenge is like the whereas the third-party API will not support exit transaction. So in that case, like if anything got failed, we'll be moving that failed records into a file. So once that is done, again we have a scheduler service where we will reprocess the failed records into the database separately.
Okay. So that the third party call you are saying, that is REST API call, or what kind of call was there?
It's a REST API.
Okay. Okay, fine. So as you mentioned, like you did error handling in such a way, even if there is any failed transaction, then you are reprocessing that one. Okay. Is it?
Yes.
Okay. So as you mentioned, you have exposure on on-premise deployment model. You know about on-premise deployment model also. So can you tell me what is domain project?
Yeah, I know but I don't have much knowledge on that. But I heard like a domain project is nothing but like two projects will be clubbed into one application. But
Okay,
I don't have any real time experience in that.
okay, fine, fine, no problem. So in your project, like what all security and policy you have used?
Security, like we have used the, as I said before, like we have used the client ID enforcement, and then we have used the basic authentication, and then we have used the rate limiting policy, and we also use the OAuth as well.
Okay, can you explain OAuth policy in detail?
Yeah, like OAuth policy, we have an option for security, like where will be providing with an access token. So whatever the URL that we are using for the application, that can be given in the OAuth. We can configure that in the OAuth, and then the we have and we'll be providing with an URL and the token. Like based on that URL, we need to generate the access token, and based on that access token should be provided in our header, so that when we are calling that particular server, whenever who wants to call the particular application, so that using that authorization in the header with the provided access token, that will come into the OAuth and it will validate, and based on that it will route to the correct application.
Okay, fine. So have you used API manager?
Yes.
So what all features we have inside API? What exactly where like for which purpose we use this API manager?
Yeah, API manager is like it will manages your APIs. In our project, like once we are done with the once we are done with the API RAML development, then we will register the APIs in the API manager, and that will generate the and we can generate from that we can generate the client ID and client secret, and also it will generate the API auto discovery, and then it will also give the API ID for that particular application. And we can also provide the like we can apply the different policies for security purposes as well.
Okay, fine. So as you mentioned, like you generate API client ID and client secret in API manager. Is it correct? We are generating there.
Yes. No, we will restart there, and from there we'll go to exchange, and from there we'll generate the client ID and client secret.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Okay. And what API monitoring do?
Yeah, API monitoring is like generally our normal logging will provide some minimal data, like it will have for maximum of 3 days or 100 MB. But in any point monitoring, like we can extend, like we can add our applications to the anypoint monitoring, so that we can get the logs for like we can define for more days or for more MB, and we can also get the different dashboards, like how many requests are coming and how many requests are going away, and average response time. So we have multiple options in anypoint monitoring. I think it's again in separate licensing for MuleSoft for anypoint monitoring.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Okay, so as you mentioned, like you worked on Mule 3 and Mule 4. In Mule 3, you worked very limited functional, like you only supported Mule 3 application.
Yeah, we supported the applications. That's
Yeah,
it.
so can you tell me any difference, like what kind of difference we have from Mule 3 to Mule 4?
Yeah, the first main difference I could observe is the message structure has been totally changed. I mean, the Mule event has been changed. And then the other difference what I've seen is the like we have a better error handling here in the Mule 4, and then data view data view also, like I think here they're using the better version, like 2.0 they are using. And also here we have the cloud or cloud and cloud coming here into the picture in Mule 4.
Okay, okay, fine, perfect. Okay, so now like in your project, are you how you are deploying your project on Cloud Hub? How
Sorry,
you are
sorry Ravi, I didn't get it.
Yeah, how you are deploying your application in Cloud Hub?
Yeah, actually, we don't do the deployment in our project. We have a separate team of DevOps team.
Okay.
So once we are done with it, like we will be raising an incident and assigning to them. So they will take using the CI/CD Jenkins. Like they will be deploying the application from. So once we are done with the development, we'll be committing the code to the GitHub and we'll be providing the URL to them. So from there, they'll be deploying from one environment to the other.
Okay. Okay. So you have any exposure to work on CI/CD script?
No, but I'm still in the process of learning. But I'm learning the CI/CD scripting as well.
Okay. Fine. Perfect. Okay. So I have one scenario.
Yeah,
Okay. So we are using this scatter gather. Okay. And
yeah,
then inside scatter gather we have two branch. Okay. One branch is
okay,
failing, another one branch is successful. Okay. So I
okay.
want, like, even if one branch is failing, I don't want to stop my processing. I want to continue with processing. So how you will handle this?
Like in this scenario, in the first branch, we can put all the processes in the try block, and we can also put the error on continue, so that even though it failed, it will not stop the entire scatter gather processing, and we can handle it out once the scatter gather completes, so that the flow won't break.
Okay, perfect. So have you worked on DataWeave? Which version of DataWeave you are using?
I'm using DataWeb 2.0.
Okay. So can you explain me map and map object function?
Yeah, map function, like we'll be using on the arrays. If you want to do the transformation on each and every element inside the array, then we'll go with a map, and the input will be an array and output will be also an array. Whereas map object, it's almost the same, but it will the input here and output will be the object.
Okay. Okay. And do you have any experience on this plug function?
Yeah, plug function, like it will take the input as an object, and it will return the array as an output.
Okay, fine. And let's say we have one example, like we have one scenario where I'm getting one array which contains 10 integer. Okay, I want to add, like, I don't know like how many like integer repeating integer value will be there inside that object or inside that array. Okay,
Okay.
so like I in my database expression I want to add all the number. For example, we are getting 1 2 3, then it will give us 6. If we are in array we have 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4, then it will give us 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. It's 4 3 10. Okay, so which function you will use to perform this data weave operation?
Like we since it's an array, input is an array, right?
Yes.
So if it is an array, then we'll be using the map function, and we'll be adding the each and every element, and we'll be display the
How
output.
in map function how you will add each element?
Not sure, Ravi.
Okay. Okay, so have you worked on this reduce function?
Yeah, Ravi. Yeah, but we have used very less. I know what is reduce function.
Okay, fine. Actually, we used this reduce function for to get accumulated value. Okay, fine. So I'm done from my side. Do you have any query?
Like, can you just let me know the area so that I can develop? I mean, I can improve my skills.
Okay, okay, fine. Yeah. Okay, thanks. So we are. I'm not going to answer this. So we are done with this interview. Okay, so first I want feedback from you guys. So I want if someone want to give any feedback, so you can give your feedback and then I will give my feedback. and then we will discuss like what all improvement area are there. I will discuss all those questions. So let me share my screen. Okay, so you will able to see all the question at one place, and then if you have any feedback. Okay, fine. So anyone who want to give feedback?
Yeah, hi mate. For your answer for exception handling, you have to tell about what type of different type of exception handling means global level and process level, and what are the components we are using, like throw, read, try block, all these things you have to mention. And for coming to these one functions, the for aggregation high level, I think you have to more practice on data view. For last question we asked, right? That one is like about reduce. For aggregating any of the values, we use a reduce function. The better we can practice if we get more confidence on that.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for your feedback. And yeah, whatever feedback he has given, this one is perfect. Means he did a very in-depth analysis. So yeah, his feedback is correct. But overall, if you are going to apply for developer, then definitely you are going to select. Okay, whatever you answered, like your 80% answer is perfect. And if you are going to apply as a developer, then definitely you will get this job. Okay, so I will give you a more detailed analysis. I have captured all the analysis. So let's go with any other feedback first. Anyone else? No? Okay, fine then. So let me give my feedback. So here, like if you will say overall, if you are going to apply as a developer, then definitely interviewer will select you. So your concept and you whatever you answer, 80% looks perfect. 20% area are there where you need to improve yourself. Okay. So let's start with your beginning. So first, self introduction. In self introduction, I will give 4 out of 10. Okay, so you given very high level self introduction. It should be brief introduction. Okay, like yep, first about yourself, your education, and then in detail of like what you did in your career, starting from first company to last company. That should be in detail. What kind of clients you handle, then what kind of role you are doing. All those things should be there. But you did in very like I think 4 to 5 line, or maybe maximum 7 to 8 line. But it
Yeah,
should
Ravi, because I don't want to know my projects, and so that's why I skipped
okay,
everything.
okay. But I think you already scripted or okay, fine. If that is the concern, then yeah, then fine. But yeah, in self introduction, like you need to if you have something already, then it's good. If you don't have, then you need to improve that part. Okay. Okay, as you mentioned, like you are to hide your identity, you did so. Okay, fine. So coming for interview, you need to continue this. Like if someone else are also giving, so you can do same. But after 4 interview, we will have very genuine. I will make that private video, so only limited person will have that access, and we will start video call and also. In that case, you can give same way what you will give going to give in real time. Okay, fine. And that access will be for limited person. I think maximum it will go to 30 to 40% maximum. Okay, so no worry to about that side. Next is about project. Again, you given very high level, so that should be in detail. Okay, that part you need to. So you given loyalty module. I think that is you took my training only. So before that, you have any MuleSoft experience?
No, Ravi, like I'm doing some kind of mule support only, but it is not completely mule. Like it's kind of log searching only. So I am
Okay.
unable to learn anything from that project. So that is the reason.
Okay, so you worked on TIPCO. I think previously you mentioned TIPCO or something
Web
like that.
methods.
Web method, whatever project you develop in web method, convert in MuleSoft, no? Web method
Sure.
also integration technology. MuleSoft is also integration technology. No one will able to identify. Okay, so whatever
Sure.
you developed in web method, put same project in MuleSoft. Okay,
Sure.
just convert that architecture in MuleSoft API led architecture. That part you need to script. Other thing you can use same project. Even I was working on Oracle, so I did same thing. I converted my Oracle project in MuleSoft. In first interview, they identified, actually they start asking API led. I was not planned with that API led architecture, so at that time I answer anything but I came to know I have to convert in proper way, and from next time onward I handle it properly.
Sure, Ravi, I'll do that.
Yeah, so here you have plus point for switching also, if you want to move in MuleSoft, for you it will not be very challenging if you are from WebMethods. Okay, and then this same project you can use. So yeah, increase your project strength, whatever you are explaining, make it more clear and make it put more inputs there. Okay, then second one is horizontal and vertical scaling that you answered perfectly. Okay, so I will give 9 out of 10. So you answered everything in proper way. So anyone has any query on this horizontal and vertical scaling?
Ravi, for this one, how we can do in Cloud Hub automatically for handling this vertical and horizontal scaling?
Okay, so for this actually you need to take some license. Okay, so one license is there. I forgot that license name. I think you need to take one subscription. That one, you if you will buy this Cloud Hub, you will not get this feature automatically for scaling one auto scaling. Okay, for auto scaling you need to take one license, and then based on CPU usage and RAM usage you need to do this scaling. In RTF and all it's inbuilt, so you will get that feature automatically to do it auto scaling and all based on CPU and RAM usage. But but if you are using Cloud Hub, you need to take separate license.
Okay, we need to configure that one. Any template we need to configure how
Yes,
that.
yes. You need to
will
define. Yeah, you need to define if your so how you will identify your capacity is whatever request is coming, that is going out of your capacity, beyond of your capacity. So that you will able to identify based on CPU usage and RAM usage. So you need to configure when CPU usage is more than 80% for 5 minutes, means your worker is on risk. Okay, soon you are going you are going to cross, means number of requests is going to cross your limit. So in that case you need to automate the process, and whenever you will your this Cloud Hub will experience this, then you need to do scaling. Now you need to identify only CPU usage increases or RAM also increases. So if RAM also increased, then that means payload size is increasing. Okay, so in that case you need to do vertical scaling. You need to increase strength of worker. Okay, and if you are seeing only vCore is getting more used, means number of requests is you are getting more number of requests. In that case you need to do horizontal scaling.
Okay.
Okay, fine.
One more question here.
Yeah.
When we talk about the scaling, we
Yes.
are talking in the context of the project, right? It's not like we do the scaling individually.
Scaling of application, not project. Application scaling will work on
I mean, my
application.
question is when we talk about the scaling, as you mentioned last time, you should have the license, everything,
Yes, correct.
the project, right? It's not
License
we
of
do, yeah.
license of this to automate this process. So let me check what license is that one. I forgot license name. So here you can see this. You need to configure this. So based on which CPU usage or RAM usage, scale up. If CPU usage is 80% for more than 10 minutes, Okay, then scale up means scale one worker, like instead of one worker create one more worker. When you will do scale down, when CPU usage will be 20% for more than 10 minutes, then scale down to one worker again. Okay, and for this you need to take which license they have mentioned. So you can search. So you need one license and you need to configure in such a way. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Got it.
Okay, so we are done with second question. Now third, what is rate limiting? Yeah, this one also you explained perfectly. Anyone has any concern on this rate limiting policy? Okay, then
Is it part of security?
this is
Can it be
part
considered
of,
like, yeah?
no, two things are there: security and policy. Okay, security means like this client ID enforcement, JWT token, basic auth. These all policy we use for security. These all are to securing your API, not in term of security, to you can say on term of capacity and all, you are securing your API. Okay, this rate limiting. So you have some limit, and someone will call your API beyond the limit. Then how you will handle? So you can use this rate limiting or spike control.
Rate limiting, it will fail if the number of defined the request more than that. If it came, that remaining request will fail, right, Ravi?
Remaining request, yeah, you will get error message. Whoever calling this, they will get error message quota exceeded.
Okay, what type of error means that error code? So they will get source system.
Source system will get quota exceeded. 427, I think 427. You can check. You can Google it. So for date limiting, I think 427 or 4 something. Error code for rate limiting. 429. Too many requests.
Okay.
And error message will be quota exceeded.
Okay. SLA based also one more policy is there, right? What is that?
SLA based rate limiting. So for example, you are client, you developed one API, and you have different vendors. Okay, so you have some premium vendor, you have some golden vendor. So based on their amount, you will give them like quota. So if you are like a premium, then you will get you can call our API 50 time in a second. If you are golden user, then you will able to call 30 time only. So in that case, you can create SLA for different vendors.
The main difference is configuring different configuration for based on a source system. So that you are saying.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so yeah,
Yeah.
fine. Then we are done with this. Then next is explain API development lifecycle. Okay, this one you need to improve yourself. This one I will say 6 out of 10. So you started very well. Like it will. So in API development lifecycle, you should not mention this BA kind of thing. BA will take requirement. They will create Jira story. That is not part of API development lifecycle. That is part of project development lifecycle. Okay, so API development lifecycle start with creation of RAML, publish that RAML on Exchange, then ask BA people to validate that RAML. Once they will provide feedback, based on feedback, okay, let me open that diagram also, then it will be more clear. Okay, everyone can see my screen.
Yeah.
Okay, so here you can see API development lifecycle start from design phase where we develop our YAML. Then we simulate, means we publish our YAML on Exchange. Then we provide feedback. Okay, so in feedback, or no, not we, means the BA people or your client will provide feedback, and we will validate. As a developer, we will validate. If it is positive feedback, we will go for build. If it is negative feedback, we will go for this phase again, design phase again. In case of positive feedback, we will develop our API, and then we will go for testing. In testing, we will do different kind of testing like unit testing, integration testing, unit testing. Those kind of testing we and our testing team will do. Okay, and then once testing will be completed, you will secure your API. So how you will secure? You will go to API manager, you will register your API, and you will apply policy and security. Okay, once you will done with that, you will deploy your API on Cloud Hub. That will be deployed. After deploying, you need to monitor your API. You, if there will be any issue, you need to troubleshoot issue, and you need to manage your API. So that those three things will come. So you need to explain this particular diagram, not starting with requirement gathering and then this Jira task and all. So that is part of, you can say, agile methodology, or you can say project development lifecycle. Is it clear?
Yes, Ravi.
Yeah, monitor means what type of things we have to take care.
Okay,
Ravi?
in monitoring, you need to see CPU usage, you need to check RAM usage, you need to check all the alerts, you need to check log, is there any application failing or not. Then you need to check SLA and all, like every application meeting their SLA or not. So all those things will come inside monitoring.
Okay, we need to buy separate tool, you are saying, right? For
No, no,
this
no.
one or,
Inside we have, inside API manager we have monitoring option. You can go there and you can see. You can select application and it will give you detailed analysis. I think he answered at the, I think 20 or 2 or 23 question number.
yeah. Yeah, yes, yes. Mm. Okay, Ravi.
Okay,
One
fine.
more thing here. Feedback who will generally going to give? Only business analyst ideally is
From
about
where you will get
business.
requirement. It can be your BA analyst, it can be client, it can be your team lead, it can be this scrum master. So here multiple person can be involved, or it can be front end user who are going to consume your API.
Okay. Okay, Ravi.
Okay, fine. So next, so everyone clear with till this point? So question number 3, rate limiting we done, 4 we done. So 4, Nagesh, you need to improve yourself as I mentioned. 5th, how many deployment model? Yeah, this one also you answered perfectly. So whatever you have strong area, you mentioned that deployment model you are using, but for other deployment model, at least you should have ready with 2-3 line of answer, like what is on-premise, what is RTF. You should know basic, but you should be strong on any one deployment model. So same you answered, and that one is correct, perfect. 6, how many way of deployment? Oh, this question I missed. Okay, so can anyone tell me like how many way we can deploy our application on Cloud Hub?
Yeah, one is on premises, one is on cloud hub, one is
No,
hybrid.
no. That is deployment model. Here on Cloud Hub, how many way we can deploy our application?
By
Okay.
Runtime Manager and by Anypoint Studio.
Anypoint Studio.
You
We can
answered.
deploy it manually.
Yes, correct.
We can deploy it
Yeah.
manually from Anypoint Studio.
Okay.
We can deploy it like we can upload it on
Okay.
Cloud Hub,
Okay.
and the other one. I think that's the only answer I know.
Yeah, everyone answered partial answer, but if someone want to make it perfect, anyone?
Yeah, Ravi.
Yeah, tell me.
So there are three steps.
Okay.
Like in three ways are there in which we can like deploy this into Cloud Hub.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, tell me.
So first one is like import a file from Exchange. You can do it. Another like by clicking on the project name
Okay.
through Anypoint platform.
Okay.
Yeah. And another one is also through Anypoint platform, but you need to go to the Anypoint Exchange and by
Okay.
uploading the file.
Till this point, I didn't get perfect answer. So, anyone else want to try? Okay. So there are two way of doing this deployment. One is manual and another one is automatic. So manual way will be in manual also we have two way. First, export your application and import on runtime manager. So you will get an option to export as a jar and then go to runtime manager and import your jar there. Second, through Anypoint Studio you can directly deploy. So you need to do right click and then you will get one option to deploy on Cloud Hub. So these two are manual process. And third, we have using automated process, that is CI/CD one. So you need to do code checking on any repository and you need to write CI/CD script. It can be through Jenkins or Azure DevOps, and using that CI/CD pipeline you will deploy on Cloud Hub. Is it clear to everyone?
Means what type of commands they used to deploy by using CI/CD?
Okay, that you can explore by yourself. It will be like a big command, means you have to do lots of things there. Okay, in CI/CD. Okay, if you want to understand the process, okay, that is private video, yet you will not able to access. Okay, let me see if in future I am planning to create one public video. So on CI/CD, how to configure CI/CD and all, that I will upload soon. But that will be like you have to follow some steps and all. So you need to create build pipeline and then you need to create deploy pipeline. So that there you need to write some script like to build and deploy your and this MuleSoft code. Okay, if you want to learn this, then you can Google it, and that will be there will be some steps you need to follow that one. Okay, and then you can deploy. Okay, so where do you deploy your code? So you mentioned this Cloud Hub and you mentioned perfectly. So this one is also good. Then agile and waterfall model. So this answer you also answered, yeah, correctly only, like you whatever you mentioned, that one good. And at the end you should mention like what deployment model you are following. Okay, interviewer will ask, but better you should also mention like you are following this agile approach where we have sprint and all. And sprint, you mentioned sprint time duration is 6 week. I don't think like this sprint duration should be this much, like 6 week and 8 week, 6 week and 8 week. It should be around 2 week, 3 week maximum. Okay. Other thing you answered
Sure.
correctly. Yeah, sprint size is generally like it should not go more than 2-3 week. Okay, that is the advantage of this agile approach. Otherwise, if it is 6 week or like 8 week, then it's a 2 month project. Okay, no one follow this. Very rarely you will get. Okay, which are you are using? So that you answered. Error handling means
Sorry, how long should be the project to be agile? Like,
in agile, actually, we first of all your scope, whatever project scope is there, you will divide into multiple modules. Then you will put each module in sprint. Okay, so one sprint will be for one module. So you need to identify which module should be complete first, which module should complete second, like that you will define. And then you need to divide that module into multiple sprints based on module complexity. Okay, for example, you are going to develop one like this banking application, or you are going to develop one retail application. Okay, so first thing should be registration and login. registration and logging process should be at the very beginning. Okay, so first you will first split your project into multiple modules. For example, one will be registration module, one will be payment module, one will be cart management, one will be order management, one will be like this item management, like that. Okay, I'm just giving the example. Then you need to identify which module should be developed first. So first customer will do login and registration, so that will be first module. Parallelly, you need to maintain and develop admin module, so where admin can log in and they can add items in, add order like items and all, maintain items. So there will be, that will be second module. In this way you need to identify, and for each module you need to define, based on module you need to define how many sprints it will take. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So we are done with this. Next, error handling in MuleSoft. So this part you need to improve a lot. So in error handling, you started with scenario. So ideally, you should start with error handling component. What kind of error handling we have and what all component we use. So in MuleSoft, we have default error handling, global error handling, and process level error handling. So you need to explain all these three in detail. What is default error handling, what is global error handling, and what is process level error handling. Then you need to explain all these MuleSoft error handling component, error handler, on error continue, on error propagate, and rage error. And then you should explain one scenario, what you explained at the very beginning. Is it clear to you, Nagesh?
When you say process
Yes,
level
sir.
error handling, you mean business?
No, process
Error?
level. No. Let me show you. So here also we can define. So with this flow, we are defining error. So this is process level. If we will move this from here to global error handler, then that will be global error handler.
Okay.
Okay, ideally we should not do it this process level. Only preferred and good way is this one.
The priority wise, how it will work?
Global,
Ravi?
first global, then process, and then default one.
Okay.
Okay, so this part you need to improve, and I explain you what all things you need to include. Then next,
Sure.
10. Next one is 11.1. Scatter gather. Yeah, this one you answered perfectly. So everything which was good. Batch processing. Yeah, in batch processing again you answered perfectly, like 7 out of 10 I will give. So few part you missed. In batch processing you need to explain that algorithm, like how it works. So first, huge number of requests will come, and we need to define batch size. Based on batch size, it will create multiple batch, and it will keep that batch inside queue. Now in batch processor, based on your system configuration, based on your worker configuration, it will start multiple concurrent thread, and each thread will take request from queue. Means it will take one batch from queue, and it will do processing. And once processing will be done, it will be returned back in queue, and that same thread will take another batch from the queue. So are you clear with this, how it works?
Yeah, Ravi, I'm clear.
Okay, what about others? Others, like you know this mechanism, how this batch processing works. So this should be initial part, and whatever he mentioned, that will be second part. But yeah, that one was perfect. But he need to include this part.
Yes, Ravi, but the batch aggregator, batch size, something I have some lot of confusion.
Okay. Then let me explain. Just give me 1 minute. Let me connect with one device. Then I will explain. See how it works. So here we have 10,000 record, or let's say 7,000 record. Okay, so we have huge number of requests and we configured batch processing. Okay, so here we configure this batch processing. Okay, so what it will do, so here you need to define batch size. Okay, so let's say we define batch size equals to 100. So what this will do, this will take this 7,000 record and it will create one queue. So our batch size is 100. So first 100 record will come here, and this one is batch 1. This one again 100, batch 2, batch 3, batch 4, batch 5, batch 6, batch 7, batch 8, batch 9, batch 10. Can anyone tell me how many batch will be there?
70 batch.
Correct. So we will have 70 batch. So till batch 70 we will have. Now whenever request will come to this batch processor will take that request and it will create multiple batch inside queue. And each batch will contain whatever batch size you will define, 100 request. Now, so based on your system configuration and number of thread will be created. System configuration means worker configuration. So let's say we got 7 thread, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So each thread will take this message, one batch from here, and it will put inside batch step 1. So 7 instances of this batch step 1 will be created. Okay, so 7 instances of this batch step 1 will be created. This one is batch step 1 and this one is batch step 2. Okay, now here we will have 100 in each instance. So let's say like 7 instances here. Instance 1 of batch step 1, instance 2 of batch step 1, instance 3 of batch step 1. Each will get 100 record, 100. Now here inside this batch step, one record at a time will be processed. Okay, so we have 7 thread. So just give me 1 minute. Okay, so we have 7 thread. So 7 instance of batch step is running. So 7 record will be processed at a time. Okay, so let's say it's taking like 10 millisecond to process one record. So 100 records are there. 100 into 10, 1000 millisecond, it will be 1 second. So within 1 second all the 100 record processed in batch step 1. So what it will do, each thread will return it back, and this thread, okay, this one is T1. So this one T1 will take this 8th record and it will go here. So now T1 will leave this one and it will go to 8th record. Okay, same way other T2 will also go leave this particular T2 will leave this particular request back to this queue, and it will take 9th one. Is it clear to everyone? Now once this thread will process all this record in batch step 1, then what it will do, it will start taking same record and it will start placing in encoding overloaded. Okay, let me split into two parts.